A lot of the people who are the boots on the ground are very, very uncomfortable. So I think before people go buying big, massive amounts of tech, we need to go back and we need to look at the human capital. It's very hard to arrive at a destination if you don't know where we're going. The boots on the ground need to feel that they're seen.
Welcome to the Rise Up For You podcast. I'm Lauren Sweeney, our vice president here. And I have the pleasure of sitting with Miss Aoife here, CEO. And we're going to talk about leadership development today.
Excellent. Thank you so much for having me.
It's such a pleasure to have you on our show today, and welcome. So we're here at the SHRM National Conference in sunny San Diego. And I would love to know for you, what do you see as the biggest challenge today with leadership development?
I think it's very multi-layered right now at the moment, especially with the integration of AI. But I think a lot of companies are facing challenges about how to educate not only their leadership team, but how do they take a top-down and bottom-up approach to AI integration? Because like I'm in the AI space, I did a data-driven marketing agency and an AI company, but a lot of companies I believe, are totally underestimating the change management and leadership development that is required in order for us to actually be able to implement AI. And in the absence of that change management and in the absence of that really dedicated leadership, you just have a lot of people getting very, very uncomfortable that they're going to be replaced or displaced. So I think from a leadership development, there's a real initiative that needs to be launched in every organization to educate and inform the impact of AI on the business, the AI readiness and the integration, and then really fostering a culture of change management to understand that as human beings, we crave certainty in an age of AI, there's very little certainty.
Absolutely. And how do you navigate, so being in the AI space, how do you navigate the integration of empathy? How do you navigate the integration of those kind of human-centric skills?
Yeah, so one of the core concepts that we have in our vision and mission is a human-centric approach to AI adoption, right? So we have a framework which is called Q.U.E.E.N, and one of the first steps, the Q on that, and the U is to quantify and qualify the impact of what we want to do. And the second step is to understand the human impact, right? You've got to, at that level, go and when you get into the U of the Q.U.E.E.N, you've got to understand how are your employees feeling, goes to the empathy, because everyone's excited about AI and what AI is going to do in business, but not everyone is, right? And a lot of the people who are the boots on the ground are very, very uncomfortable. So I think before people go buying big, massive amounts of tech, we need to go back and we need to look at the human capital. Who are the people that we have in the organization that we can nominate as champions? Who are the people who are going to foster change and innovation? And we've got to get the buy-in from them first, so that then they can have an empathetic approach to their team members to facilitate any AI integration or adoption.
Absolutely. We talk a lot about that at Rise Up For You. How do we develop our talent? How do we develop people to think like entrepreneurs and take ownership and accountability? What does that really look like? Even in our 360 assessments that we do on emotional intelligence, how do we help people see blind spots and what matters to them?
And I think, what I love about what you do in Rise Up For You is that focus on emotional intelligence, right? Because as I said, people crave certainty. And when you are making changes, which every organization is viral, you have to understand the impact of that. And there's a big difference between IQ and EQ. Everyone with the IQ is like pushing AI, let's go for it, go push, push, push. But the EQ element cannot be underestimated about how is this really going to affect our teams, and what structures, processes, and procedures do I have put in place for where there's resistance, where there's deliberate sabotage, which in many cases is happening, or where can we find the champions within that, develop their emotional intelligence so that we don't end up with the mass exit of our teams because they're uncomfortable with the changes we're making in the organization.
Absolutely. Such good points. And I know for those of you listening or watching us live on our Rise Up For You podcast, you're probably wondering, where do we start? Let's say we're an organization, absolutely, change management happening at a rapid pace, and we have to adapt and change. But where do we begin, in your vantage point, if we wanted to develop leaders? And of course, that's one of our specialties at Rise Up For You. But where would you begin?
So from the first thing that we look at is what is the business actually trying to achieve, right? How are we going to map what we have in the plan for our AI strategy versus what is the overall business strategy? Because if we don't know where we're going, it's very hard to arrive at a destination if you don't know where we're going. And then once we understand exactly where we're going, is the mapping out before there's ever a discussion about AI. Right? With any of the team members, where are we going and what do we want to achieve? And once we've quantified and qualified the destination we want to arrive on, then we work backwards with the human cap. And we start to go through function by function. So I say we got to look at it kind of horizontally and vertically. Horizontally, you have all of the functions within the organization. Then we go down deep vertical where we nominate all of the different tasks that are associated with each function and every person who's associated with each task. And then we look at nominating, is this a candidate for AI? Is it going to be replaced, displaced, or terminated?
Where do we put it?
Exactly.
How do we optimize it?
And then you go and you look within those functions and within the tasks that are being executed, who are your leaders?
Yeah.
And they have to be nominated from the very beginning and brought to the table from the very beginning to say, hey, we've looked and we've qualified and quantified where we want to go from a business perspective. Now we're analyzing our human capital. Now let's find the people in our organization who have high levels of emotional intelligence, who don't have an aversion to change, and who are ready to embrace new things to create more efficiencies and effectiveness within the organization. Right. And bring them to the table at the very early stages is
there's collaboration, right?
There has to be. There has a collaboration, communication, and, and honesty as well. I think that it is inevitable that people are going to be replaced, displaced, and terminated. But what's our contingency plan for that? If we're going into an organization and we know we're about to automate a whole admin team, what happens to those people? Where are they going? How are we setting up structures, systems, processes, and procedures that they feel seen, that they feel heard, and they don't feel... And that's where I really think that Rise Up for you, especially in what you do in the change management, in the leadership development. The leaders need to know how to lead in this new area, but then the boots on the ground need to feel that they're seen. And then this is where I think the change management, emotional intelligence comes in.
Absolutely. I also think that influential communication comes into play a lot. So I'd love to ask you kind of a closing question. What does Rise Up for You mean to you?
Well, so from knowing that as well as I do, I think the Rise Up for You for me is very much on empowerment and emotional intelligence, right? We can often be misaligned where we think just rising up through an organization and getting through the ranks at any cost to get a seniority level or a title is the way, but it's not.
Yes.
It's about how are we empowering our people at every level. So when she uses the term rise up, it's like a collective. It's a collaborative leadership and development program, change management, organizational management, emotional intelligence, the balance between EQ and IQ. So it's like that every layer level is like a rising tide raises all ships, right?
Yes.
So if you are going in at that very early level and putting in a very clear growth that we are on the path to rising collectively rather than individually, I think that that's going to be very, very valuable for any organization.
I love it. Well, thank you for being here on our Rise Up For You podcast today. It's been such a pleasure, and may you rise up for you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.